Hello and welcome to BlueTube, where we talk all things blue. Today there's not as much to talk about as yesterday, but there are still some things happening in the transfer window in terms of Chelsea, and we begin with our pursuit of Ghoulam. Fawzi Ghoulam, if you don't know, he's actually a left back who you know that Chelsea are looking for. He's an Algerian left back playing currently for Napoli in the Serie A. And right now, there isn't an official price that's being, kind of talked about in the media, but I would assume that he'd be more expensive than Baba Rahman just for that extra experience that he's got at the top level. So I would assume around the 20 million mark, maybe a bit over that. So just to get an idea of how much he'll cost. And for how good he is, well, he does play for Napoli, which is a decent team, as you probably do know. I'd say I'd rate Napoli higher than Augsburg. And I would rate Ghoulam higher than, what's his name? Rahman. Not only because of the club that they play for and the league that they play. Actually, Bundesliga is actually pretty good. So the league, I'd say they're pretty even. Serie A and Bundesliga. Bundesliga may be a bit more competitive even, but other than that, Ghoulam internationally has excelled as well. And as you may know, in the 2014 World Cup, Algeria kind of surprised everyone at how good they were. And me being South Korean, I especially felt the power of Algeria because we were in the same team in the group stages. And unfortunately, South Korea did not make it through, while Algeria did. And of course, Algeria got knocked out in the next round against Germany, but they did take Germany till extra time. So that kind of tells you the defensive solidity that Algeria did have, because Germany is a team that beat Brazil 7-1 in that same tournament and went on to win the league. So, win the league? What am I saying? To win the World Cup. I need some water, I'm sorry. Yeah, so that's just a testament to his ability and just his defensive ability. So I think that Ghoulam would be a great signing for Chelsea, but then I have to ask the question once again. £20 million for a player that's probably going to sit on the bench throughout the majority of next season. Is that going to be worth it? That's the kind of thought that goes through my mind. Because £20 million is a lot of money, right? While someone like Alex Telles could be available for as cheap as 6 or 7 or 8 million pounds. So, and Baba Rahman, of course, 15 million pounds. But that's kind of all in the air. It's kind of uncertain who we're going to go for. But for me, I prefer Chelsea to go for Alex. Did I say Alex? What's his name? I forgot his name. Is it Alex Telles? Just a sec, guys. This is so professional. Yes, it is Alex Telles. Yes, I prefer for Chelsea to go for Alex Telles, because I personally think for the price and the role that he's going to play in our team for next season, Alex Telles is the most suitable choice. However, there are people saying that Chelsea need a bit more quality in their and the depth of our squad. Like our backups need to have more quality in them. Ghoulam could potentially bring that to the club. And another incentive for bringing Ghoulam to Chelsea is because Arsenal have been linked with Ghoulam throughout this entire transfer window. So it would be kind of like just getting one over Arsenal, and that just never gets boring. So yeah, it's another incentive for us to get Ghoulam. But personally, I think Alex Telles is the best left back to go for. Tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. Next. Oh, by the way, Ghoulam's 24 years old. I think I forgot to mention that. But yeah, also age-wise, Alex Telles is 21 years old. So I think in terms of looking forward into the future, Alex Telles could be the better choice. But anyway, moving on. And we're back to Johnstone. It feels like every single day there's something about Johnstone just popping up. As I reported yesterday, Chelsea did put in a £26 million bid for Johnstone, which was immediately rejected by Everton. And apparently we're going to go back with a third bid of £30 million now. £30 million for Johnstone. I don't know what to say. I personally don't think that Johnstone is that bad of a player. In fact, he's a great player. Let's just get that straight. He's a great center back. He's got huge potential, and in a few years' time, in 3, 4, 5 years, Johnstone could be one of the best center backs in Europe. I don't think there's any doubt about that. He definitely has the potential. However, in this current Chelsea side, when we have Zuma, Kurt Zuma, John Terry, Gary Cahill, Ivanovic you can slot in there, and Nathaniel Chalobah, who actually played in the last 2 minutes against Barcelona because Gary Cahill got injured, but Chalobah can play a good job in my opinion, can do a good job in my opinion, and does deserve a chance, because I remember 1 or 2 seasons ago, he was being held up as one of England's best, he was a midfielder, he was a defensive midfielder back then, but now he's kind of converted to a centre back role. But he was hailed as one of Britain's, best talents, or England's best talents. So I think he deserves a chance as well. And is there any space for Johnstone in this current Chelsea side? My heart tells me no. But this is where my brain comes into play. As I said yesterday, Manchester City and Manchester United are showing an increasing interest in Johnstone. And I've just read, by the way, I'll put the links to all of these articles in the description down below starting today, just so that you guys can read what I've read and kind of get a sense for, what I'm thinking and stuff. Apparently Man City is getting a bit nervous about this because they know that Johnstone will make, a good contribution at, they know that basically, Man City know that Johnstone will make us better in the back. And by better, I mean when he's playing, of course, he's going to bring that quality, but also he's going to bring that depth into our squad. So that if we're competing if we have 3 different games in a week, as we've had many times before, we can slot in Terry and Cahill for one game, we can put in Terry and Johnstone for another game, we can put in Zuma and Cahill for another game, and that kind of depth is really important when you're battling on all 4 fronts, the Champions League, Premier League, Capital One Cup, and the FA Cup. And Man City are apparently thinking of lining up a bid, but that's not hugely reported just yet. But they are showing an interest, and Manchester United as well. They're showing an interest in Johnstone. So I think that. Oh, another thing I read was Manchester City would be they would prefer for Johnstone to stay another season at Everton and then go for him. And I think that's what Chelsea should do if we can afford to do it. Because if Chelsea don't buy him, I have a fear that Manchester City are going to snap him up. And that's the one thing that's kind of holding me back from saying we shouldn't buy Johnstone. Because if he does go to Manchester City, he will make Manchester City a lot better. Because defensively speaking, they weren't that strong last season. So he could add a lot to them. However, if Manchester City and Chelsea kind of have what's the word? I don't know what the word is, but behind the scenes, if they have a behind the scenes conversation and both say to each other, how about this season we just leave him alone, and then next season we can compete for him. I think that could be a lot more beneficial for Chelsea's point of view, because next season Terry will be getting a bit old, and we'll see how he's doing then, and Ivanovic will be getting a bit old as well. And that's when I think we'll really need to bring in some new players to add that depth and quality to our squad. But this is not the season, in my opinion. Tell me your opinion down below. But, Mourinho doesn't care about me. It looks like Chelsea are going to put in a third bid of £30 million. We'll see what happens. But apparently Everton are holding out for £34 million. So, is Chelsea gonna make another 4th bid above that? I don't know what's gonna happen. It's gonna get crazy, I think, and I have a feeling that this is gonna go on until transfer deadline day, and either Chelsea are gonna pay big money for him on the last day of the window, or we're not gonna get him. That's what my heart tells me, but we'll see what happens. The final story of the day isn't really a transfer story. It's more of an opinion thing. But basically, John Terry had a public interview, and he said that Falcao was the best player I played against last season, best striker I played against last season, along with Harry Kane. And he's basically saying that Falcao will be great at Chelsea and all that stuff, as you'd expect the club captain to do. But apparently also, John Terry, before the transfer window even began, all the way back in June, he told Mourinho, I want Falcao to join us at Chelsea because he's a quality player. So obviously he is showing a lot of faith in him, and he does genuinely believe that Falcao is a great player. And I thought I'd use this as an opportunity to kind of plug in my thoughts and tell you guys what I think of Falcao, and I can get your opinions on him as well, because I know that Chelsea fans are definitely divided about Falcao, and just the striker situation in general. But getting back to Falcao, what do I think of him? Is he going to succeed? That'll be the first question. And that is a difficult question for me to answer because of this reason. Chelsea play predominantly with one striker. Mourinho does sometimes put in an extra striker, or maybe, very rarely, a third striker, 3 strikers. He did play it in 1 or 2 games last season when we're really chasing a game. But normally, in normal conditions, we play with one striker, and that striker is Diego Costa. So is Falcao really going to get the opportunity and enough game time to score 10-15 goals for us next season? That remains to be seen. But you could argue that Loic Remy was in a similar situation last year, and he scored 9 goals for Chelsea, and he had the best goals to minute ratio in the Premier League, actually, I think, which was pretty incredible. So fair play to Loic Remy. But Falcao, I think he's definitely already, just the last 2 games that I've seen him in preseason against PSG and Barcelona, he's shown a major improvement in his football, but more so in his confidence. Just going for balls, running around, just feeling that he can do it. And against Barcelona, he even attempted an overhead kick, which just kind of shows that he thinks he can score. He has confidence in himself, and I think that's really, really important, especially in Falcao's case, because he used to be the best. He knows that he has that quality. He just needs a way of summoning it, and if anyone can get it out of him, it's Mourinho. So I do think that Falcao will be a lot better than he was at Manchester United. I don't think, however, that he is going to reach the same heights as he did in Atletico Madrid. And I think no one would disagree with me here, because when he was at Atletico Madrid, as all Chelsea fans will painfully remember, he was one of the most prolific strikers in Europe, or in world football, in fact. He was just sensational. And I just honestly don't think he would ever get back to being that good, because he was really a Ballon d'Or contender, in my opinion. He was that good. Was he an actual contender? I don't think he was an actual... Maybe he was, I can't remember. But yeah, he was one of the best players in the world. And I don't think he's going to be that good. However, I do think that if given the right conditions and opportunities to play, given enough game time, he can deliver 10 to 15 goals next season. I genuinely do believe that. I do think that he's still got it in him. And with Chelsea, with Mourinho, with John Terry showing that much faith in him, and his confidence is building up already from preseason, I genuinely do think that he's going to be very, very good for us this season. So tell me your thoughts on him down below. I know a lot of Chelsea fans are doubting him, are kind of wondering, but that's just my opinion. I'd love to know yours. And there's something else I was going to say about Falcao. Speaking of Diego Costa, but there wasn't any injury updates just yet. It's still, Mourinho said he had a feeling in his leg, so it doesn't seem serious. Sorry, it doesn't seem serious for now. But he had a tiny, little niggling feeling at his hamstring, so he came off just as a precaution. But we're gonna assess the situation, and Mourinho actually has a press conference today at 2 p.m. UK time, which is in an hour from when I'm recording this. So maybe I should have recorded this after the press conference. But hashtag screw logic, because I don't know. Yeah, so you guys should check that out if I manage to upload this before 2 p.m. UK time, which I don't think I'll be able to do. But either way, I'll be back tomorrow for another Transfer Talk video, giving you an update. But I'm sure Mourinho will give an update in the press conference today on Gary Cahill's fitness, which I'm sure he'll be able to play for the Community Shield. But also Diego Costa's fitness, which is the real, vague, uncertain situation right now. But hopefully he's fine. And this is my thought. I personally don't think that that Costa is going to start against Arsenal. Just as that precaution, because we've got that Fiorentina game, because we've got that Swansea game next week for the beginning of the new season in the Premier League. I think Mourinho will save Costa for that and not take any risks. So that is potentially an opportunity for Falcao to shine. If he does play, of course, because Remy could get the nod ahead of him. But I think if Falcao starts that game, plays well, and scores the winning goal against Arsenal, every single Chelsea fan in the world will immediately love him and give him the confidence and support and encouragement that he needs to become a great player. So hopefully that can happen. But we'll see about all that on Sunday when all the action happens against Arsenal. Really looking forward to that. But before then, I'm going to have another video tomorrow with a transfer talk. And I don't know what else to say. Is that all the story? Yeah, that's all the stories. I don't really know how to end this. What do I say? Oh, yeah. Stay blue.